Merry meet and welcome to Lux Dragon Queen Magic. I'm Taylor and today we're doing a new moon collective reading. So we'll have some Moonology cards, but we're also going to get in touch with our divine feminine and masculine sides and see how our energies are balancing out. So if you're here to just get in tune with your own intentions in nature, or if you're here to still check in and balance the energies within you and your twin flame relationship, there's still going to be a message for you here today. With that, let's go ahead and get started with our new moon reading. So first, what is rising up within us? And so we do have meditate and contemplate, new moon in Pisces. So what's rising up within us is this sense of alignment that is becoming a lot more easy to get in tune with. So you are being encouraged to take more time to pause and work through any options that you're being faced with. And so just truly understanding that you do have all the time and patience that you need in order to prepare for what you want within life right now. And truly understanding that you can take a step back and that you are aligning more with spirit. So that is a very main message here, is that as you're rising up, you're going to start finding this time where you are seeking out more of the divine within yourself and without. Okay, and then what's the main message of our new moon? And so the main message is you are good enough. Full moon in Virgo. So I absolutely love this, because when we start to align closer with the divine, we do also start to realize more that we have been created within a perfect image, and that we have that image still within us, and that we are trying to get closer to it. And so that's why this energy is rising up within you, because ultimately with this new moon, you're being encouraged to recognize just how amazing you truly are as a person and how you can move forward within this life. And so any intentions that you're setting within these next coming weeks, anything that you're looking to gain during these next 2 weeks, just understand that you are worth it. So understand that the time and patience that you put into any efforts, any intentions, any goals that you're setting, that you are worth those goals. So make sure to also take care of yourself during this time is also a message coming through. And so now, what is going to be our final outcome with these new moon? We have 2 different cards, so these may both apply, or you may feel that one resonates more than the other. And so first we do have it is time to take action, new moon in Aries, and then we have bring love into the situation, new moon in Aquarius. So you may find that both of these situations really apply to you, especially lately how we have been facing this sense of separation from those around us. And so you are getting closer to that person internally with yourself. And what's so great about these energies is, first with the new moon in Aries, this is great because during a new moon, you are working to start being more active in your alignment. You are working into seeking more of what you want within your life. So this is encouraging you to set a realistic goal for you over these next 2 weeks that you can hopefully celebrate during the full moon, or at least celebrate how far you were able to get during the full moon. So just remembering that it is all up to you how you move forward within this life. It's all up to you in understanding how you want to be expressed within this world, and to truly take care of what matters to you the most. And then with that, bring love into the situation. So this is dualfold. This can be that if you're working on your relationship, or if you're trying to get to know your community more, or even just working on yourself more, understand that you are worthy of that love that is around you. There's many different types of love too, so it doesn't have to just be romantic love, because I know that's what's a lot within media, but most of the time we need to, as self-love as well is a lot in media right now, but a lot of times we do still miss exactly what self-love looks like, because then we feel like we're doing it for the sake of others, when really it's more about what it looks to you and how to customize that for what makes sense to you. So self-love does not look the same to everyone. Self-love can look like having firm boundaries, and if that seems like to your family that you're cutting them off, then it's trying to understand exactly how you're able to have that boundary within yourself so that they can respect what your needs are, while still encouraging you to have that familiar love that you are around. The other thing too to recognize with this is a call for empathy into the situation. So if you have been feeling very stressed lately, if you haven't been taking care of your relationships, then just understanding exactly why maybe you haven't been feel drawn to build up those relationships, and understand a little bit more if maybe the person that you're dealing with has been stressing you out, and trying to see from their side the emotions that they're going through and put those into an actual sentence. So a lot of times when I am coaching about empathy, the main thing that we do is we want to name the emotion, and I encourage you to just look up a list of emotions, because it is so amazing how many different words there are to describe how we're feeling. And because we can get so complex in regards to those emotions, like the word upset can mean 3 different things. Well, it can mean more than 3, but off the top of my head, it can mean literally a situation that is just making your energy go into a more anxious mode, or perhaps you are just literally mad about something, or you're sad, and that's just one word. And so looking into exactly the emotion that that other person is feeling, or naming the emotion that you're feeling, can be so relieving, because then you have a name for what is happening between you two, and then from that you apply it to the situation that is happening. And then if you want to resonate with both these cards, you can find an actionable step to take in regards to how to address that emotion. Sometimes it means taking time away from the situation. Sometimes it means finding something where you just look more into how you can resolve the situation. Sometimes just getting more information can be that relieving step that you need. So this is definitely going to be something to kind of feel around, quite literally, and work to understand how you're feeling in it, as well as how your partner or that other individual, or perhaps even a whole community, is working within a situation, because you all may be feeling different about it, but you may only be experiencing your side or ignoring your side. So definitely take it how it resonates, because depending on how you are as a person, you may be needing to bring more love into the situation for yourself, or you may be needing to feel more love for the person that you're interacting with. With that, let's go ahead and take a look into what advice we have and what wisdom the House of Night is giving us. And so we do have the fledging. So something that is really coming out of this is that this is just merely a first step on your journey, especially with the new moon. It's typically when it's a great time to start something new and to allow yourself to recognize that you don't understand everything that is happening. It also typically happens after a huge release period. And so if you have recently release some relationships away from you, you're going to possibly be feeling those within yourself. And so understanding that you're just at the beginning is so important, because it gives yourself a lot more grace to allow yourself time in order to work through these moments. And remember, during these weeks, what's rising up within you is taking that time and seeking solitude and understanding within yourself. And you are working through and thinking through what is happening within your current life and situation, and where you want to go now that you've been making these decisions and these releases. And then we also have hope. So this is so important, because it's letting us know that you do not need to give up hope of the situation. So if something has happened, such as a separation from a twin flame or a separation from a false flame, knowing that there is still going to be hope along the road, and that you inspire that, because you are good enough to have these feelings. You are good enough to take this new step. You are good enough to bring love into the situation, and you also are able to do these things. So everything that you need is within you, is a very big message that is coming through right now. And to find again what hope looks like to you is going to be so important. So something too that I really love that I came across in regards to self-love is sometimes having an event that you're excited to go to and looking forward to it. So if you have like nothing on your calendar, like there's nothing really in the future that you're excited about, then create something that you're excited about. It doesn't need to be like a goal to where you build up to going to that situation. It could just be, you know, you haven't been to the park in a really long time and you want to get back out in nature. And so just set a day and schedule it and say, on this day I'm going to the park. And then as you work through your schedule, you will be able to find that sense of hope again and feel and recognize that feeling within you. And then you'll start to recognize that feeling more in regards to other situations, especially if it becomes a little bit more muddled when you're working with other people. Because sometimes when you're working with other people, hope and disappointment can work very closely together. And so recognizing how much control you have over the situation, but still being able to let go of disappointment when it happens, is what you're learning to do. You're learning how to work within this world to where you're able to hold on to hope more and let go of that disappointment. And so now we do have some affirmations. You can choose one, make a combination of all of them, and just however this resonates for you is more important. And so first we do have, my energy is my greatest currency. So yes, this is kind of what it's letting us know right now, is that you are working through understanding how you want to spend your time and how you want to share your time and energy with others, because it's not always going to look the same. You do need time to take care of yourself, and perhaps you are a more extroverted individual, and so you need time to make sure that you are interacting with those who you care about the most. And so just finding out where those reservoirs of energy exist for you is so important. So again, just connecting with that higher self of you and finding out exactly what it means for you to truly express yourself within this world. And again, just recognizing that you are good enough, that you, the way that you are working within this world is perfect. Even if it doesn't feel like it right now, it's because you're learning. You are at the very first step. Okay, and then we have, my body allows me to thrive. And so I enjoy this because first we have energy, which is so internal, and then next we have the external, our body, coming into the situation. And so if you have been feeling a little bit lackluster, and again, not taking care of yourself, then this does show on the body. A lot of times, mental and emotional fatigue show on the body more before we start to recognize what's happening. And so just taking that time to slow down and recognize what you need in order to move forward, what you need in order for you to feel good and whole again, is so important. And then we have, I'm allowed to say no. That is completely true. You absolutely can say no. You can say, hey, I'm not at 100% today. I'm going to go ahead and take this moment and time for me. Something too that I recently just ran through, and if you're on my TikTok, I reposted it because it was so great. But treating yourself and your days like they're snow days. So if you wake up and there's this giant storm within you, it's okay to treat it like a snow day and take off the whole day and do what you need to in order to get back into realignment. And then if you wake up and you're like, okay, it's not so bad, it's more manageable, maybe you have a late start. And so you allow yourself to take the time you need in order to get going before you start managing your day as you normally would. And then finally, perhaps you wake up, everything's fine, but as you get through your day, things become so overwhelming and a lot more worse and less manageable. Well, then you get an early release. And so you take time and you let go of what you can do for that day and take a step back to where you can go back and enjoy yourself, and you're taking care of your energy and you're taking care of your body. And it goes back to my energy is my greatest currency. So all of these really fold into each other, letting you know that whatever you need to do to take care of you is so important. I especially love during the new moon that we practice a self-care routine. And a lot of times, because I don't do it enough, I'll do a beauty ritual because it's so great and invigorating for me. It helps me feel better about my skincare, especially when I've been lacking in it. And it just makes it feel like a mini spa day at home without needing to do very much, but enjoy myself. And so with that, we actually do have self-care cards coming out later, so we will end our reading today with those to give you some ideas on what your energy is asking of you today. And so next, we do want to go ahead and take a look into how our dual energy is residing within us, and this may also connect to you and your twin flame partnership. And so first, for our God cards, our Divine Masculine, we have Homo Spiritus, I am so much more. And then you may want to pause to further embody and engage with this energy. But ultimately, understanding that you are so much more than just your external self, so much more than just your internal self. You are connecting with something so much more divine within yourself. You are connecting with a greater presence that exists outside of you. You're connecting to the universe, which is exhausting, okay? Especially if you're not used to exuding so much energy, and if you have been trying to connect with those around you and the connection hasn't been as you thought it would be. So it's so much more important to recognize that you are able to coordinate these feelings within yourself, and you are working and doing your best, and you are connecting to that higher realm. And it does take, you were at the beginning, right? We did get the fledging. This is a new moon. So just recognizing again that you're taking those few steps, and it's okay that they're baby steps, all right? And then this is so important for our Divine Masculine side, because something that is coming through with this too is that the Divine Masculine is being encouraged to recognize that they do not need to do it all themselves, that they do not need to just be going. And so this energy has been a little bit more aggressive lately, and instead allowing yourself to become a little bit more passive and to recognize when that passive becomes assertiveness before it becomes too aggressive. And so that's really the message coming through in regards to balancing out the Divine Masculine side. And then for our Divine Feminine side, we have Mary Magdalene, the apostle to the apostles. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I am fully human and fully divine. So I love these two energies coming out together, because first we have the Divine Masculine saying, hey, I recognize that I'm so much more and I'm going to connect more with that. And then we have the Divine Feminine coming in saying, yes, you are so much more. Here is how you're able to balance out between those two energies. And so the Divine Feminine is coming forward as being assertive. So something too coming forward, especially if you're in a twin flame relationship, but is recognizing as the Divine Masculine that you need to take a step back and then learn from the Divine Feminine side about how they are truly creatively expressing themselves and being able to find that balance, because they have learned the lessons that you needed to learn, but simply being quiet and allowing yourself to receive is more of the message for the divine masculine side. And then with the divine feminine, you're being encouraged not to become aggressive, but to continue doing what you've been doing and allow yourself to open up and express exactly what makes sense to you as it does, but still finding that balance. So there's a very important message here, not to overgive yourself, but not to become too passive within the divine feminine. And so if you haven't been feeling very connected to your creative side, or if you've been speaking out a lot but haven't been feeling very heard, then now is the time that you're going to start recognizing a shift in energies around you, where you're going to find people who are more receptive to you and your energy that you're wishing to express. Because again, you are recognizing during these coming weeks that you are worth everything that you're putting out into the universe, that you are connected to that higher self. So still, you're able to take time to relax for yourself and then make actionable plans for how you want to move forward. Okay. Now, next we do have some tarot for us to just let us know a little bit more about how these 2 weeks are going to go. And so first we do have the Knight of Wands. So I enjoy this especially after the Divine Feminine card, because this is letting us know that you are moving forward confidently in expressing yourself and showing others how they're able to do so. So if you have been encouraged to become a teacher of any kind, especially to the younger groups, this is coming through letting you know that you can 100% confidently express yourself in how you want to and have fun while you're doing it. So it's not so serious as the King of Wands or even the Queen of Wands, but instead the Knight who is just moving forward in life and having a good time. This is also a message that if you have been working on any creative projects, to still move forward with how you envision that plan, because the plan that you have is reasonable and is something that others will respond to. And then next we do have the Moon coming out, and so this is a balance card between the light and dark within ourselves, understanding the passive versus the aggressive to find a balance into assertiveness. The other thing coming through with this is we don't know everything that's going to happen, and that's okay. There is a little bit of mystery and intrigue, but you are meant to be encouraged by that mystery because you're in this mode of wanting to find out more about the higher self. So you don't have all the answers, but that's why you're just the Knight too. You're moving forward and you're having fun while you're doing it. And so just understanding that you are putting all the efforts that you need to, but also understand that the bigger thing that you're focusing on is actually the balance between the two and having that internal and external self being heard. So when I say that, I mean like your internal self, you're able to take a step back and you're able to connect with just you and know that you feel right within this world. And then when you go back into the external self and expressing yourself, you recognize that give and take that others have, because again, you come forward and you're going to start recognizing hope more for what it is while letting go of disappointment. So as you're interacting, whether it's with your partnership or whether it's within your community, you're going to start recognizing that you are finding this balance between you're able to give as much as you are actually able to give. You don't need to give everything, right? We're taking a step back from that aggressive behavior of needing to be in control of everything. Instead, we're suggesting creative ways that we can move forward and hopefully form true partnerships. And if that other person doesn't take up that partnership, then we simply allow ourselves to have the boundary that makes sense for us. Okay, and then finally we do have the Ten of Cups. So this is absolutely wonderful. This is letting us know that it isn't just about like, oh, you and your twin flame, you and your romantic interest are going to be just having a fantastic life. If anything, this is actually more of saying like, what does your end goal look like? What does your happy ending look like? You can craft that and truly bring it into manifestation, because as you're working through balancing out these energies, that's what you're doing, is you're finding out how you're able to be your whole self all the time and not compromise what you want out of the future and out of your own energy. So you're not giving too much. You're giving exactly the right amount to where you feel fulfilled and all 10 of your cups are filled up. And so there is a special message here in regards to the twin flame itself, that you guys are finding creative ways to connect with each other, and you're learning that you don't know everything about each other and how you process the world, but that's okay. You're going to continue learning from each other, because that is the most important, I think, part of a twin flame relationship, is the fact that you are constantly working to balance out each other, and so that the other one feels safe and protected. And so this 10 of Cups is just reaffirming the fact that within your twin flame relationship, you are going to be receiving this. Something too, a message that has been coming up for us in these readings is the fact that you can connect to your twin flame within the 5D. So if you are not within your twin flame right now and you're on your way to a reunion, to that meeting, you're going to be able to feel this energy within the 5D, and that's why you're encouraged to meditate and to connect with that higher spirit within yourself, because that is a big message. As you balance out yourself, you're giving away. So it's interesting because I'm trying to word this right, but essentially you are saying, hey, I'm not going to be so foreboding and feel like I need to control everything, but I'm going to control what I can, which is my own energy, and I'm going to take the steps that I need to that make sense for me. And then with that, you're going to find that others are hopefully respecting those boundaries and allowing yourself to move as you need to within this world. But then the other thing that I always say on this channel is, if someone is making you doubt yourself, then it's time to have firmer boundaries with them. And so that is something to just maybe recognize within yourself. And so when you take that step back, you're able to then go forward and say, hey, I thought you were someone who I could let into my home and everything would be fine, but then I kind of realized you kind of trashed the furniture and you didn't really help me clean up when it came time to do those things. And so instead, I think I would rather just maybe hang out with you in my yard. And then maybe you have to take a step further and you're like, hey, you came into my yard and you tore up all of my grass, or you messed this landscaping that I had spent a lot of time and I was really prideful about. And instead of, again, helping me either create something new that made sense for both of us, you just left it a mess and I had to pick it up, and it made me feel terrible, and I had to spend extra time in order to rebuild that, and I had to decide if I even wanted to rebuild it. And so just going through those situations where when someone comes in and makes you doubt yourself and you're just like, well, how much of this essence of myself did I really want in the first place? If they aren't helping you understand a little bit more, because sometimes we need that, sometimes we take something into ourselves and it's not good for us, and so it requires a good friend, a good person who can encourage us to see how that energy is not good for us. But instead, if they're just pointing out things that you thought were really fantastic and it makes you question how fantastical those things are, and you only go into a deep dive of depression, that's not so healthy for you. So instead, you're like, hey, maybe we don't meet even inside my yard, and we actually just meet in a more neutral zone. And we just aren't as intimate as I thought we could be. And so as sad as that can be, it is going to be so much more uplifting for you to have those boundaries in the future. So that was a very convoluted metaphor. I hope it was understood. The main part is just understanding that you're allowed to have your boundaries, and if that person doesn't respect those boundaries, it just means you need more with them. It doesn't mean you're wrong in where you're setting your boundaries. And also recognizing too, especially if this is in regards to a partnership or a relationship, if you're setting your boundaries to where you're like, I don't really trust you to be intimate in any way with me, then that's time to reevaluate that, because you don't have to have the same label on your relationship for the entire time. So maybe you thought someone was going to be this really fantastic best friend, and then that doesn't happen for you. Instead, it just seems like, hey, maybe we're just every once in a while get to see each other acquaintanceship. And that's okay, because really you're going to take care of yourself and your energy is going to grow from it, because you are meant to continuously grow and be within balance of your wants and needs. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get off my soapbox with that. And then before we get into the self-care, we'll just do a little quick recap about the new moon energy that's coming in and how we're balancing this out. The main thing to understand is the fact that you are connecting more with your spiritual self, and you are starting to recognize that you are able to express yourself in this world for what makes sense for you, and to have that empathy for yourself and for others, okay? So those are just a little few things. Make sure you're checking in with your energy and what makes sense, and it is okay to say no. Alright, so now self-care. Again, you may like the idea of all of these and try to do them over the next couple weeks, or you may just really like one, and I would encourage you to literally schedule it into your time and make it a priority. So first, we have make a meal. So this can be maybe your favorite meal. This can just be something that just really resonates with you, but it's so important for you to maybe take a step back and literally prepare a meal yourself. So this isn't going out to eat, this isn't ordering food, this is taking the time to say, you know, it sounds good right now and what I can physically make right now to do this. And it doesn't need to be some grand meal. It can be like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I cannot tell you how many times I have that and a cup of coffee and I'm so satisfied. So just recognizing what makes sense to you, but putting in that energy and effort into the meal and creating something for yourself And then the other thing too, because you can use this as a partnership building, you can make a meal together. And you know, sometimes when you're making a meal together, there can be certain things where you just miscommunicate on, or if you're not talking at all. And so this will build that communication between you two to recognize exactly what you want. Another thing that's coming up with this, especially if it's with a partnership, is perhaps you make each other a meal or components of a meal. So like one of you is like, I'll make this side dish if you'll make the entree. And you guys work on your separate projects, and then it comes together to make a beautiful meal together. So just definitely take this however it resonates and what makes sense for you. But I encourage you to make a meal that just makes you feel better and feel happy inside. Okay. And then next we do have a burning bowl ritual for those who still need to release something, release some emotions, some relationship within us, to release control over situations that we can no longer handle. I encourage you to go ahead, spend some time just writing down things. You can just jot them down. It doesn't need to be like a full-on letter, but just encourage you to have a very safe fire where you essentially burn those into ashes and release it into spirit so that it can transform that energy. Fire typically is such a transmuting energy, because what happens is you put your intentions into that fire and then it releases it to spirit, to where spirit can then take it and transform it to show up in your life however you need to. The other thing too with this is it just doesn't just need to be for release, it can also be for any intentions that you're setting out. So if you have some really big goals and you're like, I can't accomplish this within 2 weeks, instead of, and it depends on what you think that could mean. So it may be something that you can accomplish within 2 weeks, but it just seems a little overwhelming. So go ahead, set some intentions, and the main part is to let them go. And so a best way to do that is to go ahead and set up a burning bowl ritual. Something coming through with this too is if you decide to do that with your intentions, literally only write them down in one place. So I know that's not normally what's suggested. It's normally like suggested like put your intentions somewhere where you can see them every single day so you're reminded. Instead, I'm hearing that for those who resonate more with needing to do a burning bowl ritual, it's time for you to write down those intentions and then burn them away in this ritual and let it go, because those intentions will manifest as they are meant to manifest with spirit's help. And this is how you're going to be able to actually release that energy. Again, this is probably more for a divine masculine side, because it is about releasing that control over situations that we can't fully handle. And so that is why you're encouraged to just write it down once and burn it away, because you're literally going to let it go into spirit's hands and they are going to help manifest it in a certain way. And as you listen and use your intuition, you will still recognize the steps that you need to take without needing to make actionable steps. Okay? The other thing too to know about this, if you're like, I really don't want to write anything down or have that, you can also 100% just have like a bonfire, burn some things, and then you can either talk out loud or just think and meditate about what makes sense for you moving forward within these next couple weeks, and just enjoy your time next to the fire, because you will feel that energy, you'll feel that heat and that passion come into yourself, and you're still setting your intentions out there. So it doesn't need to be such a big gung-ho ritual. It can be something as simple as just having a small fire and sitting next to it and thinking about life. And just see where it takes you. Okay. Oh, something that just came through too, you can have like a full-on barbecue and like have a burning bowl ritual while also making a meal. And so maybe you're making s'mores. How fun would that be? But yeah, so definitely feel free to combine these however you need to, but just recognize that this is more about taking care of you and getting back to encouraging your energy to be ready to receive. Okay, and then on the heels of that, we have be still. And so yes, what's rising up within you is this meditation, this thinking process that you're going through. And so this is so encouraging. So if you're doing that ritual where you're not really writing and you just are sitting and you're being still, then that is another way that you're connecting. Perhaps you were sitting before your meal and you decide to be still and have a moment of gratitude for the energy exchange that you're having with that meal. And it just is very simple. Just take a moment to be still and allow yourself to receive. Is a very big message coming through. Allow yourself to receive that spiritual help from the 5D. Allow yourself to connect with that higher self within you. Allow yourself to release control over situations that you cannot influence past the point that you have already tried, because you are the only one who is being affected and stressed out by that, and you don't deserve to take on that extra energy. You are good enough to surpass all of your obstacles, and you definitely will. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. I want to thank you all for liking and subscribing. Please do not forget to comment below. Maybe let us know which self-care ritual you are handling today and how you expect your new moon intentions to go. With that, I will definitely see you guys next time. Blessed be.